You're listening to an archived Cabral Concept podcast. After listening to this show, check out the most up-to-date podcasts available at stephencabral.com/podcasts or search directly on iTunes. And now, welcome to the Cabral Concept, where board-certified naturopath and integrative health practitioner Dr. Stephen Cabral shares how he was diagnosed at the age of 17 with a life-altering illness and given no hope for recovery. It was only after studying and traveling all over the world did he discover how to combine ancient Ayurvedic healing practices with state-of-the-art naturopathic and functional medicine to fully rebalance the body and re-energize it with life. It's time to discover how to get well, lose weight, and finally feel alive again. And now, here's your host, Dr. Stephen Cabral.
So happy to have you here today on this Mindset and Motivation Monday, where we are going to start your day or start your week off right, hopefully both. And one of the reasons why I like doing this on a Monday is because every Monday, we're kind of resetting our schedule. We're resetting our life. A lot of times we might have Sundays off, and then we have to get back into the work week, or we have to get back into the family life, the routine, whatever it might be, whatever your current situation is. And our goal on this Mindset and Motivation Monday isn't just to give you a pep talk. Now, that's part of it. We all need that. That's part of it. But the goal is to take you from wherever you are right now to where you want to be. And again, you can be in a great place in your life, but it can still be better. It can. And that's always what it's all about. It's striving to better yourself, striving for more. But more not in a materialistic standpoint, more is like, how much can I get out of this life, right? It's really taking yourself from, I'm having fun, I'm enjoying myself, I'm where I want to be, to loving life. Like, it's taking that to that next level where you're like, wow, I didn't know it could be this good. And a lot of times, if you're not saying that to yourself right now, you might not actually think that you can enjoy that type of life. But I'm telling you, from all of the people that I've seen in my practice, the person that I was myself many, many years ago, that if I can do it and the people in my practice can do it, there's no difference between you and all of us. There's just not. And I'll tell you that because I didn't grow up with any special privileges that I know of. I didn't grow up with, any specific skills, like anything like that. Everything that I think that's gone into this life to where I am today is it's just been forged. It's been created, it's been worked on, all of those things. And again, I'm not even saying I'm at the pinnacle. I know that there's people above me. And so what I do is I say, wow, I use that as motivation. I use that as I still have some summits to climb. Remember last week on our Mindset and Motivation Monday, we talked about every mountain that you scale, you now have a better, clearer view. You actually get to see the mountains in front of you. So once you accomplish one goal, well, hopefully it's on to the next. And that's how I live life now. That's really how I look at it. And it's such a great perspective. And I want you to check out last week's Mindset and Motivation Monday, because it helps you put things into perspective where, I shared this in an upcoming interview that I have with one of my guest experts. That'll be next Friday, not this Friday, but next Friday. So stay tuned for that. But I just shared that the place I'm at right now in my life is that I don't need to accomplish anything. Like, I don't have this massive goal that I have to do. I have so many that I want to do, but I'm no longer putting the pressure on myself. So although I have all these goals, right? So like my book coming out, The Rain Barrel Effect, which I want to talk about in a second, it's like when it wasn't publishing on time, I just stepped back and I said, okay, it's not going to launch on time. I had all these specific things that I wanted to do. And I just said, you know what? It's okay. It's okay. It's going to happen. But the reason for today's show is that a lot of people don't have the goal to shoot for or the life to shoot for, or as we talk about on these Mindset and Motivation Mondays, they don't have the relationship they want. They don't have the spirituality, that type of relationship that they want. They don't have the health. They don't have the body that they want, and they might not have the overall career. And I really believe that a lot of times we have one or two of these areas, maybe even three going really well, but maybe there's one that we don't care about too much, and then there's one that's falling behind. What I want to talk about today is I want you, because we're going to create this, I want you to start with the end in mind. And I'm going to teach you exactly how we do that. So this actually came from a comment. Someone posted a comment on Instagram, and you can just see my account at Stephen Cabral on Instagram. And they were posting about their experience reading The Rain Barrel Effect, which I just wanted to thank you. I want to take 2 seconds here to really thank you, thank our community. It has been #1 on Amazon under medical books and toxicology now since it debuted, literally. And I couldn't be more grateful. I couldn't be happier. Me being able to get this book into people's hands is what I've been waiting years to do. And really that allowed me, I think, to say, okay, yes, practicing functional medicine, getting to work with so many people in my practice. But now, with a waiting list to work with me specifically of a couple months, again, you can work with my health coaches, still get my advice that way. That's easy to do. But just being able to want to spread this with the world. So I just want to take a second to acknowledge you and thank you and everyone that's left a review on Amazon, everyone that's purchased the book, just extremely, extremely thankful. If you haven't heard of The Rain Barrel Effect, well, that's my new book that came out a couple weeks ago. So in it, one of the chapters, so I have something called the de-stress protocol that I'll be teaching as the first level of my certification this upcoming fall. And again, it's for the public and it's also for health practitioners. I want level 1 to be for everyone. But one of the 8 parts or one of the de-stress protocols is actually a success mindset. A lot of people don't know that. And it's such a huge component. People, when they go to, that's why like all natural health practitioners practice a little differently. And every one of them can be absolutely exceptional in what they do. But I always tell people, when you come to me, please don't ask me for the silver bullet supplement, just like you would ask a conventional medicine doctor for the silver bullet pharmaceutical. I'm not the supplement guy. I use nutritional supplements, but then I also wean people off most of those after about 3 to 4 months. And then they're just using a foundational based program and anything they need for their constitution or their lifestyle or maybe even genetics. But that's one part of my de-stress protocol is supplements. One part. I need so many other things to get you well. And I only learned this from experience and then from clinical practice, because I'll tell you right now, I never knew, and I couldn't be more grateful that this happened, even though I had to go through so much suffering myself, is that, let's say for a minimum of 5 years from 17, definitely to 22, 23, I was in it. I would start to get better and then I would relapse. I would start to get better and then I would relapse. And I was always sick. My friends knew me as always being sick. All of these specific things. I would get well, I would try to put on a good front, and then I would get sick again. And I would get moody and I would get depressed and I would get irritable. And then I would get bitter and I would get resentful at my life for why are all these things happening to me? Why can't I go out and play sports anymore? Why can't I train hard at the gym anymore? Why can't I do any of these things? Why am I always inflamed? Why do I have terrible allergies? Why do I have acid reflux and fatigue and brain fog and seasonal affective disorder and all of these things? Why me? I kept saying, why me? All of these things. And here's the issue. I thought I was going to all these practitioners, reading these thousands of books to get well. But later, many, many years later, I realized that the whole time it was more a spiritual-based journey. I needed to learn more about myself. I needed to let go of past experiences. I needed to let go of resentment, bitterness, judgment, all these things, even judgment against myself. I needed to change my self-talk. I needed to do all of these things before I could get better. And I never knew that, meaning that, why did I keep relapsing? Well, because, and I've spoken about this before, your psychology can affect your physiology. I'm the type of person that pit a mindset, originally type A for sure. I've been able to kind of move out of that, but it's the high stress, the high cortisol, the high epinephrine, high adrenaline, and just burning my body out. So what happens is I would let it build back up and then I would start to feel great. And then I would just go all out and then I would crash again a couple months later. But I would never correlate it to what was going on with my overall life, my overall thinking. So what I needed to do, and again, I was a pretty severe case, right? But I know so many people out there are dealing with the same issues, and I need to be able to get this information to them. One of the ways that we heal, especially with digestion, I work with so many people in my practice. We get them well. We relab test. No more candida, no more SIBO, no more C. diff, no more parasites, no more H. pylori. And then they still have some queasiness in their stomach. And I say, can you correlate it? Because it's not all the time. Can you correlate it with certain events in your life? Can you correlate it with when, I always ask this, I'm like, does it happen on the weekends when you're not working? And a lot of times like, you know what? It doesn't. And I said, okay. So this is most likely dealing with the kids or dealing with work or dealing with whatever it might be, okay? And then I say, when does it start? And then what we try to do is we just try to work backwards. And then, so we can help them with obviously nutritional supplements for a shorter period of time, and then the lifestyle based and all of these things to get them in sync, right? Get them in sync. But what I'm trying to say here is a lot of times achieving our goal is a multifaceted approach. And that's really how we're able to help people get well. People ask me all the time, like, how are you able to help get me well when I've already seen a dozen specialists, best in their class, best in their field, right? I've already seen other naturopaths. I've already seen health practitioners. I've gone to dietitians. How are you going to get me well? And I say this, well, I'm not going to get you well. You're going to get you well. I am going to give you the blueprint and the plan to follow. And then what we are going to do is work on all facets, the entire de-stress protocol. And beyond that, we are going to make this a bio-individual based approach, which means that even though I'm giving you the nutrition plan, the sample meal plan, you're running the functional medicine labs, you're taking the nutritional supplements, all these great things, we're also then going to keep in touch so that we tweak it along the way. The problem is that it's very difficult in this field that when you meet with a health practitioner, oftentimes that's it. They give you a plan the first time you meet with them, and then you never talk with them again. It's so hard to get well that way because it can be the greatest plan in the world, but you just need one or two minor adjustments. And I'm actually going to start doing more case studies on the Cabral concept. So if you're interested in hearing me talk about case studies, please just go on Instagram, today's post, and let me know. Just say, hey, I'd love to hear more about case studies. And I'll go through digestive case studies, depression, anxiety, psoriasis, skin conditions, autoimmune, you name it. I've worked with that person, so I will give you more case studies. And I would love to do that. But what we have to do, though, is we always have to do with how people get well, how they move ahead in life in their career, how they find the right person, the right relationship, the right spiritual-based practice for them, and then also the right health, the right body. Well, what we have to always do is start with the end in mind. This was a concept that I never knew about. Like, they don't teach this in school. It's completely insane to me that the most important things we need in life are not taught in school. It's unbelievable. It's unbelievable. They teach us all of these useless things. I mean, absolutely useless memorization of facts that are even more useless today. Maybe they weren't as useless when I was, in fifth grade and sixth grade and there was no internet, right? But for sure, it's useless now. The memorization of facts, when I can just press the button on the side of my iPhone and ask Siri, what the answer to that is, do I really need to know those things? No. What I need to know is being a good problem solver. I need to be good at looking at the overall picture of things. And I need to be a good human, right? A good connector with other people so that if I need help, I know who to go to, how to ask. So it really is becoming a good problem solver. I think that's where the education system needs to be going. But the big part of that, the problem solving, is we need to start with the end goal in mind. So when I talk with people and they say, hey, I just don't know where I'm going. I feel lost. I'm confused. I feel overwhelmed. I'm tired. I'm depressed. I'm anxious. I'm just wandering through life. All of these things, if that sounds anything like you, or if you've been there before in the past, or you have a friend or family member or coworker, please share this with them. Because it's when you feel like you don't have any purpose, you feel like you don't have any fulfillment, that you're just kind of floating around through life, just being bounced around, just dealing with the day in and day out tasks. Well, I'll show you, that is an unhappy person. You show me that person that comes in wandering through life, feeling lost, confused, overwhelmed, anxious, depressed, no purpose, lack of fulfillment. You don't know where you're going, don't know where you're heading. That person, obviously, is most likely not going to be loving life. So what we need to do is we need to ask ourselves, what is the purpose? What do you want to get out of this life? And usually people have never been even told they can ask that question. And I'm telling you right now, I'm giving you permission and actually, hopefully, commanding you to ask yourself, what do I want out of this life? What do I need to accomplish that if I didn't do it, I would regret it? I would regret it when I'm 80 years old looking back. Let's talk about this right now. Start to think about that question. Write it at the top of your journal, your Moleskine journal, any one of your journals that you have, or just even a blank piece of computer paper. I do that all the time, or printer paper. And I want you to write down, what do I need to accomplish? That's it. What do I need out of life? Any question that you feel would trigger your mind to start writing. And then don't judge yourself. Just start to write things down. And then what I want you to do is choose one. You can accomplish all of them. That's what I talked about a couple Mindset and Motivation Mondays ago. Actually, on my birthday in March, I published a show called The Ultimate Bucket List, or How to Create Your Ultimate Bucket List. All of those things that you write down on what you need to accomplish in life, whether it's travel or writing a book or starting a podcast or meeting the perfect person or having children one day or grandchildren or whatever it might be, right? Any of those things, you write that on the list. And then right now, which one speaks to you? Which one draws you in that gets you the most excited? The one that gets you the most excited, we need to start there. that is calling out to you that that's next. Why does it matter? Because here, if it gets you excited, it's going to give you the energy to follow through on everything that needs to get done to accomplish that specific goal. So here's how we do it. We pick one thing. We can only talk about one thing right now, okay? That one thing. And let's just say, let's go with career. Let's just go with career right now. Okay. Here's what I want you to do. I want you to get crystal clear on what your ideal dream job would be. Now, you might be saying to yourself, oh, well, I didn't go to school for that. I'll never achieve it. I'm too old. I'd have to do this. I'd have to do that. Put that out of your mind for a minute. This is just you and your journal, you and a piece of paper. You're daydreaming. You're enjoying yourself. This is a fun exercise for you. If you could have your ideal dream job, and it doesn't matter how old you are, I don't care if you're 87 years old saying, hey, what's my ideal dream job? I would actually applaud you if you did that. I want you to write down what it is. And again, you can do this. What's your ideal body? What's your ideal dream health? What's your ideal dream relationship? Even if you're in a relationship and it's not going that well, what is your ideal dream relationship? Because you could transform your current one potentially to that exact thing. And then same with spiritual-based practice. Those are just the big five that I see. But you could have any of your own. You can come up with your own areas of life. Today, we're going to talk about career because it can be a little bit concrete. So what I want you to do is get crystal clear on what is that ideal dream job. So I'm now living my ideal dream job. All right. So I want you to just know that it wasn't that way. So I grew up not really in the mindset that I could kind of own my own business, create my own shop, do all of these different things. And again, owning your own business is not always the best route for most people. You have to just kind of be built for that and into it. But you can have your own private practice within another practice. You can do it as a hobby or a part-time gig. Or yes, you can open your own, whatever it might be, whether it's restaurant or consulting practice or any of those, different things is absolutely phenomenal. But let me just use myself only because I don't like to talk out of turn or try to put anything into your head of what you should be. So if I can just say what I am, probably makes it easier because you already know who I am. But for me, what I did was I simply, and I've gone through my story before, was daydreaming all through college. All my friends went into finance for the most part. I just said, I can't make that my life. I can't see myself sitting behind a desk. I just couldn't see it for myself. Plus, I was a sick kid. I was getting into personal training in college and I was getting into nutrition and I loved it. But I didn't know anyone. I didn't know anyone who was a personal trainer doing that full time or a nutritionist. So it was very new for me. But I started to read books and I saw people that were doing it as a full-time thing. So then I started to intern. I just kind of did a couple hours in their practice. I couldn't do it full-time because I had to make money. So I would do jobs to make money as well right out of school. And I would sit at a cubicle, sit at a desk. It didn't last long. And then I got my first full-time personal training career, 6 months. I was working nights. So again, I worked from whatever it was, 7, 8 in the morning. And then I worked when I got out of work around 5 p.m. I went to the gym and I trained clients until 9 o'clock. And then I got a big break. And of course, where did that break come from? Well, knowing what I wanted to do. I wanted to be a personal trainer. After that, I got this, serendipitous letter saying, hey, we're opening a brand new health club in Boston. We got your name because you're certified through this organization. And I actually turned down the first letter. It was the second letter that came in that my dad's like, hey, did you check this out? I'm like, oh, let me check it out. He's like, I read about it in the Boston Globe. And I'm like, oh, okay, cool. So I applied and I put in the work. I read about the company, all those things, ended up getting the job. And I left my desk job 6 months after school for my dream job at that point, which was to be a personal trainer. I was in the highest of the high-end health clubs in Boston, maybe even the United States, at the Sports Club LA in Boston, inside of the Ritz Tower. Myself and 33 other personal trainers, myself and one other guy out of the 33 people were 22-year-olds. We were the youngest people in there. There was personal trainers in their 30s and 40s. And now I could visualize it because I was around full-time personal trainers. I don't know what I was doing there, right? I was this young kid with very little experience, but at least they saw something in me that could be molded. And that's all I needed because, I can be a sponge when I'm into something. All I want to do is read about it and listen to podcasts and watch the videos and read the research. And so there was personal trainers in their 50s. And I said, okay, great. This is a career. If these guys and girls are doing it, all I have to do is model them. So I just started to get crystal clear. This is what I want. I want to be a full-time personal trainer. I want to be doing 120 client sessions a month because I know that would be, I could help anywhere around 20 people, training them twice a week or so. Like I just started to really define that. And then I said, okay, well, to do that, then what do I need to do? What do I need to do? Well, I need to get myself in the best shape that I can be so that I can show people, okay, I can get myself in shape. I might be the youngest guy, but you can still trust me. I get myself in shape. I've also studied nutrition. So what I did was, yes, I had the personal training certification, but I said, what would differentiate me? What would allow me to be able to help clients to a greater degree? Because I know if I can help a few people, then maybe they would tell their friends. If I can get them in great shape, then maybe they would spread the word. And that's what I did. Like, that's literally all I did. So I studied nutrition. I got my certifications in nutrition from all different disciplines. And then I was actually working with personal trainers. So I started training other personal trainers, and I started training athletes. And then I started doing the nutrition for all of the personal trainers' clients. And like, that became my niche. So then I kind of like, oh, well, I've always loved nutrition. It's what's helping me get well myself. And now I added the personal training, and that allowed me to expand from there. So now my vision started to change. But every time it was, how do I get crystal clear on what I want? So what I want to do right now is try to bring this full circle. So what I'm saying is that the people who feel like they're wandering around through life, that they have a lack of purpose, that they have a lack of fulfillment, that they're overwhelmed, that they don't know where they're at right now in life, they don't know where they're going, and they can't see themselves getting out of their current position, is because they haven't got crystal clear on where they want to be. Now you can say, no, I know that I want to be healthy. I know that I want to weigh less. I know that I want a good job, a better job that pays more, that's closer to my family so I don't have to travel an hour away. And I know that I want a better relationship, someone who treats me with more respect, all of those things. I've heard all of this before. And I always ask to people, I hear you saying this, but what does that look like? What does it feel like? Start to use your senses. This is what I do in part of my my lifestyle medicine-based practice as well. I tell people, like, we need to get crystal clear. You say you want to get well, but what does that look like? Like, what does that look like? Does it mean no bloating? Does it mean being able to fall asleep at night? Let me define that with you. You have to tell me that. You tell me that you want to lose weight, but you don't let me know what that scale should say. You don't let me know what the body fat percentage should say. Because if you don't do that, you don't have a goal to shoot for. So what I'm saying right now is get crystal clear, define what the end goal is. Start with the end in mind. Because if you don't start with the end in mind, you can say, I want to be more successful. I'd say, great. So you start doing things and you might get a little bit more successful, but not a lot more successful area of your life because you don't know what that final goal is. So you can't really use what we call the law of attraction, right? We can't use that thing called getting into the same vibrational frequency as the thing that you want, right? And you don't have to believe in that or not. It doesn't matter, because what I do is I put into concrete steps. You start with the end in sight. So now hopefully you're more attracted to that thing, and the things that you want start to come closer to you. But at the same time, when you have the end in mind, when you already know your goal, what you then do is then break that down. Okay, so I want to, just say for me example, I want to become a personal trainer. All right. I knew if I wanted to become a personal trainer, what did I need to do? Well, I need to get the certification. So what do I need to do? Well, I need to send away for the book, send away for the study materials. Then what do I need to do? I need to study. Well, I'm just going to study, keep it open for a year. No, I'm going to set the test date. And I'm going to set the test date 3 or 4 months from now, whatever I need. And then I'm going to say, okay, I need to get through all of this material in 4 months. Well, now let me take all the material. That means I need to read 20 pages a day, watch 2 videos a day, whatever it might be. Or I need to hire the tutor, hire the mentor, whoever it might be. But I'm telling you right now that if you know your end goal, you will then know the steps that you need to take in order to achieve that. And you'll even be able to hire the right mentor, the right coach, the right therapist, the right naturopath, the right medical specialist, the right acupuncturist, chiropractor, anyone, because you know your goal. So you know that that person who has experience already helping people get to their goal is going to be able to help you out as well. But you don't need any of those people unless you've clearly defined what you want out of life. Because remember, it's not their job. It's not the mentee's job or mentor's job, I should say, or health specialist job or personal trainer's job or any of those people to create your goal for you. So remember, like, we do thousands of sessions, over 10,000 appointments just in personal training a year at one of my studios in Boston. And all the personal trainers on my team at that studio, they ask people when they come in, what's your goal? We do long-term goals, we do moderate goals, and we do short-term goals within the next, 3 weeks or so. What are all those goals? And we make people define them, even if it's just general overall health and wellness. We want to know that because it is not our job to put our wants on you. That's not our job. Not a job for a health coach in general. They want to know what you want. What do you need help with? That's what your practitioner is there for you. That's what your spiritual practice is there for. That's what, again, even with relationships, tell your spouse, your partner, anyone that you're dating, hey, this is really what I'm looking to get out of a really successful relationship. This is what I need. And your needs are important. If your needs can't be met and they're reasonable, it just might not be the person for you. But I always say this as well, like, you can't have a million needs, right? But what are your most important needs? And then you should also ask your spouse, your partner, whatever, what are your needs? What do you need to feel like you're in a fulfilling relationship? Let me help you with those, right? And you might not be able to fulfill all of them, but maybe you can get a couple, or you can start to get better on all of those. But remember, unless your partner, spouse, whoever it is, tells you their needs, then they give you their end goal. You can't even work on either. It's kind of like not being able to read the other person's mind. It's so difficult. So that's why we really do have to look out for ourselves. It's so important. And here's why. The truth is this, is that everyone is so caught up in their own stuff, right? We're just like everyone's swamped with the relationship, things that are going on in their life, their own health, their own body, their own work, their own family. It's just so much. That's why if you do not express to yourself first and then maybe to someone else what you're looking to get out of life, it's not going to happen. But here's the thing. Here's the amazing thing. As you start to clearly define your own goals and people see you going after that, that's contagious. They want to know about it. They want you to post on it on even social media. They want to be along for the journey with you. And then it starts to inspire them. You don't need to see anything. You being that role model will inspire them. Now, will it happen tomorrow? Probably not. They're on their own journey. Let them take their own ride, their own journey. But I'll tell you this, as you start to achieve more for yourself in life, you're going to be so much better for others. And the reason is your energy is going to be vibrating at such a higher level. Now, what does that mean in medical talk? Well, your health, your natural energy, which means balanced cortisol, balanced adrenaline, good testosterone, good DHEA, not estrogen dominance. All of those things are going to be in check. You are going to wake up with energy. You're not going to need that alarm clock. You're going to be able to fall asleep at night without stress and things running through your mind. You're going to be able to properly digest food. When all things happen, you're going to be healthier and happier for almost not even, no reason at all. You won't even know it, but that's what happens. When you get to that place in your life, you now are at such a great place that you want to pay it forward. You want to give back. I mean, that's just the way that it is. As I started to move through this journey, at no point was I ever looking to help anyone else when I was younger because I was in such a bad spot. It never occurred to me that anybody else might be going through any of their own stuff. But as I started to get better, as I started to feel great, I had never felt this great before in my life. Not at 10 years old, not at 12, not at 16, none of that. I feel better now every single year than I did the year before. That's not supposed to happen, right? That's what they tell us. But it can, and that can happen for you. And then, again, you've never experienced this before. No one ever told you this. They never taught it in school. You almost feel compelled. Something inside of you says, I need to share this with others. That's what I'm doing right now. I need to share this with others. It is something that I would do if there was only one other person listening to this podcast. It's because if I can reach one other person, and I can share what I've learned over the years for myself and what I've seen happen in clinical practice, that I know it might be able to have an effect on them in their own way, on their own journey, without a doubt. So that's what I want you to do today. I want you to write down, what do you need out of life? It does not have to happen even this year, but what do you need to have happen? How will you feel fulfilled? How will you feel you have purpose? You don't have to say, how will I be happy? That's ephemeral. I want you to think of this. What makes you feel fulfilled? What give you purpose? You tell me someone who's going after their purpose, not always achieving it, but going after it, the journey. I will show you someone that's happy, okay? And here's the deal. I honestly believe this. I truly believe this, is that you can recreate, right? Because you have the life that you already have right now, but you can begin to recreate any life that you want for yourself. Again, it's a journey. I don't expect you to even buy into it right now. But what I want you to do are just go through the exercises. Write down what it is that you need, you feel that you have to have out of life. Begin to just write down that bucket list. Then there's one thing that's just going to vibrate off that page. It's going to speak to you with a lot of energy. Circle that one. Go after that one. Then start to clearly define it. Write down what it is. What does it look like? What does it feel like? What does it smell like? What does it taste like? All of those things. Try to even cut out an image that you can find online of it. Post that. Look at it. Think about it every day. Then begin to take the action steps. Don't rush it. Don't rush it. Take the action steps to move towards that. If you do that, you will go from your current life to a life you could only imagine. And hopefully you're doing that right now. Take care, everyone. Really appreciate you tuning into the Cabral Concept as always. If this show helped in any way, please do feel free to pass it along to anyone else it could serve. Ever wonder what the best sauna, blue blockers, sleep trackers, wake lights, salt lamps, or other health gadgets are? Or what about the top non-toxic mattresses, sheets, soaps, bath products, toothpaste, and cookware? Or would you like to know the cleanest choices for hemp parts, meal delivery services, supplements, and much more? I personally curated, researched, and now created a resource page of all of my top picks that continues to grow each week. These are the exact products I use in my own life, with my family, in my private practice, and they're the ones I trust. To find out all of my up-to-date recommendations and all the details, simply head on over to stephencabral.com/resources.